All right, so you guys don't want to miss this one. We're going to be breaking down Binance, their current state of things, and are they in trouble, or is this just par for the course for crypto? I don't know. We're going to take a look at all the things that are happening around Binance and whether or not maybe you should take a look at it a little harder. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. And before we get started, I want to thank our sponsor, and that is iTrust Capital. If you guys are looking at long-term holding of crypto, one of the things you can do is go into a crypto IRA. It's very simple and very easy. All you have to do is visit their website. You can start your crypto IRA journey going into Bitcoin, Ethereum. You can do all sorts of altcoins. You can also get into gold and silver. So it's very flexible. No monthly fees for you. The only fees you'll pay is when you do your own self-directed trades inside your IRA. So just check it out. Make sure and use our link. It's going to help you guys get started, and you get a $100 funding reward once you do decide to go. All right. We're going to get into a few points I want to hit on. Part of this will be into, there's a few things happening this week, but obviously everybody's kind of all eyes on Binance right now and have been for a couple of weeks. Big week ahead. Monday, the SEC versus Binance designated court hearing. That's today. Wednesday, the FOMC interest rate decision comes in. We also see the press conference from Powell on Wednesday. And then Friday, we'll see SEC versus Binance documents unsealed. That to me is the bigger picture, because first of all, and we've covered this many times on the show, is that the sealing of these documents is very unusual for the SEC. So what is it that we could discover on those unsealing of those documents? I don't know. I'd love to get you guys' comments on what you think is going to happen on Friday. Drop some comments down below. Make sure and smash the like button. Is one of the ways that this video gets out there and it gets discovered by the YouTube algorithm. So please help us out there. We appreciate it. All right, so a couple of things happening here. SEC accuses Binance of US of non-cooperation. And this is a problem when you are a U.S. organization and you're not coordinating coordinating with the regulator. Now I get it. Nobody's in love with the SEC, but you do have to address it. Everybody that we've talked about here recently on the show who have had some challenges, all the way into the issue, with Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, those people are all acting like normal adults, and that is, all right, let's see how we can fix this. This is the problem I think that lies within the Binance ecosystem. Another thing here that I want to hit on here, sealed documents in the SEC versus Binance unredacts, and this is under court order now, so this is a big deal. So the judge basically said, hey, we're going to go in and allow the SEC motion to unveil the documents related to the lawsuit. Now, why does it get into a court order to say, okay, we're going to do, what is in there that is so damaging that would cause a judge to have to approve this to happen and for them to be redacted anyway in the beginning? I think this is the thing that everybody is asking. What is in there that makes this so dramatic? So this week is going to be a big week. So just first of all, pay attention to what's happening within Binance. Most of you probably are off of the Binance exchange in the United States. But overall, if you look at this on a global perspective, this I think is going to have larger waves hitting Binance over the next few months. And I'm only going off of just the troubles with the SEC, the regulatory problems we have here in the US, and you have to also extend it into the Binance organization. As an example, midst of the heightened regulatory security right now, Binance is seeing key executives resign left and right. So Chief Strategy Officer, VP of Compliance is out, Head of Product resigns, General Counsel is out, Head of APAC resigns, BinanceUS CEO, Head of Legal resigns, Chief Risk Officer. Why is everybody leaving and jumping ship right now? What is it that they know that is going on? If there's anybody out there that worked for Binance, and if you guys are interested in coming on the show, we would love to have you, because I'm very interested to find out what is going on inside the organization to cause this kind of landslide movement of executives. I mean, this cannot be and is not normal for an organization like this. Makes me think of some others that have kind of been out there. All right, so I want to take a look at Binance US just over time. You can kind of see a little bit of the decline in Binance US over time. Obviously, at the heyday, they were running in BNB, especially when you look at BNB over time. This has continued to fall off in general of everything that's been transacting within Binance US. So I don't know if you guys are using Binance US, or to those of you that have, are you in a position where you've started to exit? I'd love to kind of get your feedback of users that are out there in the space that are actually changing maybe some of their habits. And if so, where did you go? And what are you using right now as your exchange of choice? Other thing right here is total value locked, of course, on BSC. Continues to drive down. This, of course, is over... well, right here was their high all the way back into May of 2021, which again, that was right there before that first pump that we had in 2021, and then obviously the Bitcoin high that we hit in November in late 2021. Others, of course, I'll go into, and this one right here is going into transactions also on BSC, and you can kind of see the decline here that's been going on right now. And it's down quite a bit in terms of total transactions. So all these kind of scenarios, whether you follow DeFi Llama or if you guys are out there doing research on different projects, I'm sure you are, and you use tools like DeFi Llama. It's one of the things that we use. All right, so as an example, here's Polygon, just a layer 2, coming in at right around 2 million transactions. And then, again, this is just one example of these kind of scenarios that are taking place right now in the overall market. The other thing that's looking at this, and I want to zoom in on this a little bit, I'm going to show you where ETH stakers are living right now. Obviously, Lido number 1 right there at almost 271,000 validators, 32% of the market share. Let me zoom up on that right there. And then if you scan across, there, of course, is Coinbase coming in at 8.4% right there, and then Binance at 4.5%. So Coinbase being really has slid in front significantly, and that's a pretty big deal because that's just the United States versus Binance covering pretty much the rest of the planet in terms of ETH stake. So to me, that's another major slowdown in where Binance is going. And if you look at Ethereum in general, that's a very strong indicator of health in many of these centralized exchanges. Here, of course, is some other examples of Binance doing something that I thought was a little bit thirsty. Today we're launching OP-BNB on mainnet. Layer 2 solution now fully released to the public, allowing for lightning fast transactions. This, of course, is coming in on Optimism. And they show some of the projects in here within it. But you can kind of see, basically, this was a exact model that happened with Base. If you look at this, it's an Ethereum virtual machine, compatible layer 2, built on Optimism, the OP stack, by offering cheaper gas fees, set to make blockchain technology accessible to all. It's exactly what's happening over on Base. Base, obviously, though, is significantly higher in a very short period of time, too. So that in itself. Here's some of the project partners. Not a lot of partners on here that you'll recognize, but if you guys know of a project that is out there on this, let me know in the comments, and because maybe this would be a good interview or something that we could take a look at how this is working for Binance and some of their project developers, because that's a big deal, I think, when you look at the growth of these ecosystems. Here, of course, is the OP, total value right now, bridged on OP, so it's not necessarily, what is that, right around 4 million. And if you kind of look at some of the projects that are on here as well, here's just to give you an example on NFT sales by volume. Let's go take a look at Binance here. This is over time. So obviously ETH, what's possible, obviously at Ronin at its heyday, Solana, Flow, Polygon, Cardano, and then all the way down into even over Avalanche, and this is all time, versus BNB Chain. So BNB Chain has had a bit of a struggle in being able to really get consistent within the NFT market. And Avalanche is, again, another single chain being able to outperform what's happening on Binance. So things have not come together as a whole. Just to give you an example of some of the top BNB Chain games that are out there, you've got, this is the one that whether you like it or you don't like it, but as you'll notice here, not a lot of major Web3 games that are showing up here in top on BNB. So I don't know, again, if you're a game dev, are you even planning on building on Binance? Would love to kind of get some ideas on that. We've had some people that have been building on this chain before, and and many, have started to look at either migration paths, but also starting to look at other options. I think that'll be the big question as we go forward. Here's the top 10 dApps right now on BNB Chain, and you can kind of see some of those. Again, not other than XCAD, which I would say yes, and TinyTap, yeah, okay. These are good projects. Question will be and will these projects start to migrate and do some other strategies here on the long term? Because this could be one of those scenarios. Social Fi dApps also by activities over the last 30 days. This comes in from the top 10 social Fi apps, and this is over the last 30 days. I don't know. Again, not necessarily, other than XCAD, I would say is the only one that. Well, FriendTech obviously on base is going to be the big one over there. All right, so looking at XCAD, which would be, I think, a little bit of their rockstar here. Huge moment for XCAD and Play community has arrived. XCAD app is now available on iOS, so this is going to be good for XCAD. We've had their CEO on the show before. XCAD is in our market sentiment indicator, so we do track it. And it's it has ups and downs, but it is a very interesting project, I think, now that may get some interesting movement here with this movement on Apple. All right, so this was our tweet out to the XCAD founder. Recommendation to earn a way of rewarding successful video recommendations. You could both increase engagement, break the status quo on YouTube algorithm. Number 2, multi-chain support. Ethereum, Polygon, Solana, Flow, and Avalanche, for obvious reasons, should be done ASAP. We'll see what they say about it. Let's go to a clip right here from Oliver.
I was using Ethereum quite a lot, and I started to notice that Bitcoin and Ethereum did not scale at all. I got really excited by Zilliqa, and there's only things I could see that was possibly going to scale. Okay, this was a long time ago, way before all these other chains and stuff. For me, I love Zilliqa, nothing against Zilliqa, but for me, I think the future is multi-chain. Why just remain on one single chain when you can be on a few chains?
So this was done. That interview we did with Oliver Bell. This is one of the founders of XCAD. Was done months before Base was really released, was done well before many of these alternatives that are out there within the market, even to a certain extent, even before Avalanche, was really getting into gaming. So I think the fact that he was already identifying that multi-chain was a good thing, I think is going to be a scenario that most likely will play out for XCAD. So I am looking for that to be happening over on XCAD. If you were predicting anything, that might be it. The other thing is that when you think about just Binance in general, remember they were one of the ecosystems that helped foster Web3, and I have to thank them for that. That is one of the things, at least, that got many of these dev apps and devs together with understanding of how to maybe create something that was a solution to better Web3 in all sorts of different scenarios. But when you look at gaming and where a lot of these game devs are going to be going, you have to look at a couple of chains. And I think Avalanche is a good example, right? Here's kind of the future of what Avalanche is doing right now. DeFi Kingdom, Shrapnel in there. What else do they have over there? Obviously, MetaOps. Many of these you guys have probably started to see. But Avalanche has really started to move along here. So pretty intriguing, especially. Now, we've had the game lead on here on our show from Avalanche, which you're welcome back to the show. We'd love to have you. I like what they're doing, and I think it's one of those things that, we continue to see a lot of movement. We've done a few videos on this. This was Avalanche launching the first NFT game on PS5 and Xbox. This is a pretty big deal. And we broke this down. It was just here a couple of weeks ago. And we also did a full ecosystem. Go check out our videos on Avalanche. You'll get a chance to see all the way back to John Wu, who is the CEO of Ava Labs. Very good stuff. Here's a good example of some of the gameplay, though, that is happening over on Off the Grid. This is coming in from DrDisRespect. Again, Off the Grid, which is the set-top box version of Gunzilla. So let's take a look at just some of that. We'll let it play. I'll mute that out just so you guys get a good example of how high quality this game is. And I think this is one of those things as we start to see, and this is the scenario we've talked about on the gaming side for quite some time, is there's going to be a point where somebody gets there. Somebody is going to be able to kind of bridge that possibility of bringing Web3 into the ecosystem that we will really notice on from everything from what's happening in the Web2 gaming space into the expansion of things like Xbox, PS5, etc. So I think that's just a matter of time. So if you're a game dev over on Binance, what do you do? What do you do to kind of move? Is maybe Avalanche one of the solutions to go in there? And again, this was just Justin Kim right here coming in on that. He's head of Korea. Just so you think about this, the Asia connection is Avalanche. They did a huge release in Korea just last week. A lot of this was happening here, and then they covered it right here. Great episode when we did the full breakdown where they did the Avalanche House of Soul. Kind of cool stuff. But it is a good one to watch. I still think this is one of those projects that we still like, meaning Avalanche. And of course, the gaming is going to be just one of the catalysts for it. Just to remember, this is one of the tokens that never got delisted on Robinhood. So that's another, if you're thinking a good thing and something stable, you got to look at Robinhood is pretty selective on how they go about it. And that was the scenario that did play out. A couple other things right here, of course, is Base. Now, look at this, 1.8 million daily transactions now this is hitting. Now, part of this is obviously mostly on Frentech, but still, the point is that this is a fairly new chain, and it's one of those things that I think we're going to continue to see this massive growth. Just to look at some of the L2 growth here, look at Base right here. This is, remember when it started back here, coming along right here, there's Optimism, Base, Arbitrum right there. We thought it was going to fall off right here, and this was back toward the beginning of September. And then bam, just right up again. So it's just continued to do a lot of movement upwards right now in terms of total transactions. And that is going to be healthy for these chains. So if you look at users, active users, the orange right there is the new, and the blue is active users currently. So they're still gaining new users almost on every day. So very cool for Base. All right, so just to give you an example of some of the chains that are on the move here, of course, there's the BSC total value locked, which is continuing to decline. And I'm just looking at 2023, which is starting to move down. And then, of course, right here, coming up in really around August, middle August, when we had kind of that summer project advancement from Coinbase on Base, here comes Base, which is the blue one right there, starting to make its move. So as time starts to progress, will Base be the one that takes over where a lot of these game devs and devs in general are building? Or could we see some movement into the Avalanche ecosystem? All right, so just to show you an example of how Avalanche was able, they were the only one that really was able to get right there neck and neck at the heat of the moment when we were in the market, because remember, this is right here at December, which is November 2021. That is Bitcoin 69,000. And of course, the market, and also that's the event when Meta started to shift over and say, hey, we're looking at Metaverse. Of course, obviously, some of those things. So Avalanche, again, is another one to kind of keep an eye on. So don't forget that Binance was still in the stablecoin race. This was BUSD. Right here, just to give you an example, and look at the market cap. Let's go to the market cap real quick. And market cap fall off right here since its high, which was around 23 billion. This was November of 22 into where we are right now, setting at around 0.25 billion. So 20, almost, gosh, that's a significant fall off. Compare that to USDC. USDC also overall high around July of 22, 55 billion. We had all those scenarios playing out in the banks, and then of course that has started to slide, but still holding 25 billion and flatlining a little bit here. And then of course, the big guy being Tether continues to hold, but starting to see a little bit of level off right here at around 83 billion in terms of stable coins out there. So that's another, kind of Achilles heel of Binance in general. And, when you look at this, you look at the game ecosystem, the new development ecosystems, the total users, the total value locked, the ecosystem within BNB and or Binance as a chain. Is this one of those scenarios? And then let's not even talk about the exchanges, because that's, I think, going to be the scenario that might really cause the straw to break the camel's back, so to speak. Is that a factor enough for you guys to consider, hey, what else can I do, whether I'm a developer or I'm a user? And what am I going to do to maybe change my ways of where I'm doing a lot of my transactions, whether you're flipping over to, going over to something like Coinbase, or maybe you're just going over to projects that don't necessarily involve the Binance ecosystem. Love to kind of get your feedback. Let us know. All right. That was a big one. Let's get into a couple things. If you guys are not in the Diamond Circle, make sure and jump into that. There's a couple of new things I'll talk about here today that we have going on. One, of course, is we've got a new advanced product now in what was our Crypto Power Index, which has been now newly named to the Market Sentiment Index for many reasons. We'll break that down in another video, but check it out. And the way you can do that is just join the Diamond Circle. All you have to do is click the link down below. It's very simple and easy. If you are on our podcast and you want to catch all these charts and stuff like this, come over here to the YouTube channel. That's where you can do it. Just subscribe. Hit a like on the video. It helps us out. And we'd love to get your feedback. Just drop some comments down below. If you guys want to catch me, it's out there on Twitter, @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.